Driss and Philippe are racing through Paris at night in Philippe's Maserati. He is tired of living in a wheelchair, tired of sympathy and the inability to be with the woman he loves. Philippe just wants to drive wherever his eyes look. A police car appears behind him. Driss offers to bet that he can lose the police. Philippe accepts the bet, but after a few blocks the car is stopped. Driss offers more baits, that the police will act as an escort for them, and his friend agrees. When Driss's arms were twisted, he said that he was taking Philippe to the hospital, that he was having a seizure and could die. Philippe played along with his friend, faking a seizure. The police were afraid that he could really die, and they walked them to the hospital. When they left, Driss and Philippe also set off. The two did not immediately become good friends. They first met when Driss came to an interview to get a mark in the document that he tried out for the position, but did not get it. He wants to receive unemployment benefits. Philippe is looking for a person who will look after him because he is paralyzed from the neck down. He liked Driss's manner of communication and his assertiveness, and he, in turn, liked Philippe's assistant, the red-haired Magali. Philippe did not sign the document for the benefits. He promised that he would do it tomorrow if Driss returned. The guy goes home, taking with him a Fabergé from Philippe's house. There, a crowd of children, cousins, are waiting for him. One of them, Adama, got involved with the wrong crowd, and Driss is worried about him. When the mother of this family returns, she immediately attacks Driss, who wanted to give her the stolen egg. She says that he is a lost man, that nothing can help him anymore, and she is tired of carrying a grown man on her back. Driss, she sends him away, and Driss has to spend the night on the street with his friends. In the morning, he comes to Philippe to pick up a piece of paper for the employment service. And there it is. Another of Philippe's assistants shows Driss the house, his bedroom and bathroom, if he agrees to work. Then she takes him to Philippe, and he offers to take the signed document and leave, or stay and try to work. Philippe is ready to bet that Driss will not last even 2 weeks. Driss could not refuse such an offer. However, he did not suspect what awaits him in this house at work. He will have to stretch the legs of a paralyzed owner, wash him in the morning, dress him, feed him, open his mail and do a lot of other things. But most of all, he was outraged by the prospect of putting compression stockings on a stranger and using gloves, the purpose of which no one has yet told him. In addition to the servants, assistants and the owner, his adopted daughter Eliza lives in the house permanently. She is dating a fat boy named Baston, who Driss immediately disliked. Philippe and his late wife had no children for a long time, and after 5 miscarriages they decided to take Eliza. Then his wife died, and he crashed while paragliding and became an invalid. When Driss was sorting the mail, he noticed a letter from a certain woman, but Philippe did not want to say anything about her. And Vanna, entering Driss's room, accidentally looked into his bag. There she found a folding knife and a baton, and she was worried about her boss. She can't trust a stranger from the street, no matter how charming he is. Philippe is going to an art gallery. He asks Driss to take him in a car specially equipped for the disabled. Driss refuses to go in it. He sees a Maserati in the yard, covered with a cover, but Philippe says that it is too impractical. Driss does not want to listen. He seats Philippe in the front, puts the stroller in the trunk, and jumps behind the wheel. At the exit from the yard there is a car. It is Philippe's neighbor, who always parks here. Driss literally weans his neighbor off parking in this place in a minute and a half, using brute force instead of arguments. In the gallery, Philippe intends to buy a painting with an abstract drawing for almost 40,000 euros. Driss is indignant. How can you pay so much money for such a daub? He says he can draw better. Philippe's relatives and friends warn him about Driss. Antoine has met him specifically for this conversation. He says that Driss has had previous police records and is generally an extremely antisocial element. But Philippe is interested in something else. Driss does not pity him. He still hands him the phone when his phone rings, forgetting that Philippe cannot answer it himself. Driss continues to hit on Magali, but she rejects all his advances. He does not miss an opportunity to tease Elise, and learns from Yvonne that Philippe has been corresponding for 6 months with a woman he has never seen. Magali writes the answers under dictation. One night, Driss is awakened by Philippe's groans. He began to have phantom pains. Driss tried to calm him down, but the pain continued. Then he took Philippe with him for a walk, and on the way he treated him to some weed. Philippe felt better. They started talking in the cafe, and Philippe asked Driss to return the Fabergé that he had stolen during their first meeting. It was a gift from his late wife. When Philippe was writing another letter to Eleonora, Driss intervened. He thought that Philippe should call her, since she had sent him her phone number. But he was against it, although that didn't stop Driss from calling. He dialed the number and handed the phone to Philippe. He had to talk. After that, they forgot about the correspondence. Philippe and Eleonora talked on the phone more and more often. Despite all the hardships of Driss' work, he sometimes had fun with Philippe. However, they had different views on entertainment. Philippe saw something exciting in the opera, while Driss saw only a singing tree, and in German at that. Philippe decided to send his photo to Eleonora. He and Driss chose a photo of him in a chair, but it was unclear that he was paralyzed. However, Philippe then replaced this photo with another one, where he is shown before the paragliding accident. As it turns out, Driss does not throw words to the wind. He really did start painting a picture that could surpass the one his boss bought, but Eliza ruined his creative mood. Driss couldn't stand her careless attitude towards him and went to Philippe for permission to give her a dressing down. Philippe, convinced that Eliza had really crossed the line, promised to talk to her himself. Driss finished the picture and decided to consult with his household about his work. Almost everyone appreciated it. But it wasn't just Driss's hobbies that changed. Philippe also began to live differently. With the help of Driss's friends, he pumped up his wheelchair so that it could accelerate to 12 kilometers per hour. And together with Driss, he called girls for an erotic massage. However, the only erogenous zone accessible to Philippe is his ears. So his masseuse focused on them. Do you find it funny when your ears are licked? I didn't know that. It was Philippe's birthday. His relatives and friends arrived. While they were listening to classical music, Driss went to visit Elisa, who had locked herself in her room. The girl had been dumped by her boyfriend Bastien, who had called her a whore, and she had swallowed diarrhea pills, thinking they were sleeping pills. Driss brought the girl to her senses. Returning to the common room, Driss organized a disco, forcing everyone to dance to modern tracks. After the party, Philippe showed Driss's painting to Antoine. He said that it was a debutante who was going to be exhibited in London and Berlin. He offered to buy the painting for 11,000 euros. Antoine was hesitant at first, but then decided that it was a good investment. At the end of the day, Driss gave Philippe his gift, a letter from Eleonora. She sent her photo and wanted to meet. Philippe is very nervous before the date. He spends a long time choosing clothes and takes Yvonne with him. However, he cannot stand the tension and asks to be taken away just before Eleanor arrives. Driss, meanwhile, is busy with Bastien. He met him after school and made it clear that if he does not apologize to Elise, he will regret it. In addition to the apology, Bastien must bring Elise croissants every morning. Philippe and Driss fly to the mountains to spend an extreme weekend. Upon returning, Driss is in for a surprise. His younger brother has arrived. He got into trouble and asks Driss to help. Philippe understands that he must let Driss go, because he cannot take care of him for the rest of his days. Driss tells him that Adama is not his real brother. Adam's mother is actually Driss's aunt, but she has always taken care of him. Upon learning that Driss is leaving home, Magali comes to him. She introduces him to her partner. Driss says goodbye to Philippe and Vanna and goes to solve his brother's problems. There is another car parked outside the courtyard. This time Driss politely asks to move the car, and the driver drives away. Driss has changed. He has become attentive and caring. He helps his aunt, whom he considers his mother, get a job and makes arrangements with the guys who exploit his brother for drug trafficking. Philippe tries to return to his old life. He again starts changing one assistant after another. None of them are up to Driss's level. Philippe is desperate. He has grown a beard, and his gaze has become dull. One night, he calls Driss and asks him to come. The two of them set off to race in a Maserati through the streets of Paris. That night, the police stopped them and then escorted them to the hospital. Then Driss took his friend to the sea. There he shaved him, tittied him up and took him to a restaurant. However, he was not going to have breakfast with him. Driss called Eleonora and made a date with her on behalf of Philippe. Before leaving, Driss left a Faber jig on the table, which he himself had given up hope of finding. Philippe married Eleonora. They had children and moved. Driss opened his own business and also started a family. These two are still best friends. That's all for today.